I'm going to go on and get started. I'm your host, Lady K. I haven't been live on a few of these platforms, but it's always the first time for everything. Thank you all for joining me on YouTube, on TikTok, and through our Zoom platform. This is a virtual roundtable. It is a live platform. We have interactive conversation, and tonight I usually come on and I give a topic, of what we're going to talk about. But before I do that, I just want to invite you all to check out my social media, Own Your Brokenness, on all platforms. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as well. Own Your Brokenness. Make sure that you go follow, go like, go share. Something may be said that will inspire you and impact your life. And I thank you all for joining. Yes, I'm looking to connect with some entrepreneurs, especially in the Atlanta area. I teach a bunch of youth, and I'm always looking for speakers to come in and to actually be on the platform and to talk to our students about anything in entrepreneurship. There are so many different skills that we can have in entrepreneurship that we need, to be a successful entrepreneur. So I'm looking for speakers that are in the local Atlanta area. DM me, reach out to me if you are open to come speak to youth. I teach high school, ninth through 12th grade, and I teach barbering in Conyers, Georgia, at Rockdale Career Academy. So if you are looking for a platform to speak, you have some inspiring things to pour into our youth. I'm looking for people that are dealing with finances, people that are speakers, people that are big in the marketplace, that are very active. Um, Go on and inbox me, DM me, send me a message, or you can email me as well, ownyourbrokenness@gmail.com. And I would love to connect with you and see if we can get you out to speak to our youth. I have this project that I'm getting ready to work on, inspiring men pursuing accountability, confidence, and transformation. Project Impact. It's with my Own Your Brokenness nonprofit organization, and it's really inspiring our young men. I deal with young men and young women, but so many young men, and this project is specifically for our young men. Basically, like I said, inspiring them, giving them role models to follow, giving them a clear and a safe place to be able to talk and be able to express themselves. So I'm thankful for that. So if you want to be a part of that, if you're a male mentor, you're looking to pour into our youth, definitely reach out to me. I am the connector for that project. I'm the piece to the puzzle, and I would love to have you on board. If you have some great ideas, come on and reach out to me. So my topic tonight, I'm not going to wait on people to come in. I'm just going to go on because it will be open for replay. My topic says, "What are you willing to change?" And when I picked that topic, it was a lot of things that came to my mind. Right, there were a lot of different ideas, or different thoughts, because change requires a lot from us. Right, change is a thing that we have to go through in life, and a lot of people don't like to change. Right, sometimes we people are on autopilot, like we're going into this new year, and a lot of people are just kind of coasting. Right, they're just going from 25 to 26. Nothing has changed. Nothing is shifting in their life. Hey, what's going on, little bro? Nothing is going on. Nothing is shifting in their life. But my topic says, "What are you willing to change?" Right? And I know you're probably saying, "What are you talking about? What are you willing to change in order to get the things that you desire?" Right? What are you willing to change in order to go to the next level? And also, what are you willing to change in order to get that husband, to get that wife? A lot of people don't like change because change does not feel good a lot of times, right? Change is inevitable. It's going to happen regardless if you shift it or not. But a lot of people don't like changing. And that's an issue, right? You see some people that are 50, 60 years old and they are still at the same place that they were at 20 at when they were 20 or 30 years old. Something is wrong with that, right? Someone did not want to change. Someone didn't put forth the effort to make that change, to make that adjustment. So, what are you willing to change? That's my topic. Keep that in mind as I continue to move forward. One of the things that we have to do, and I'm not going to be before you long, but just want to talk about a few things. But one of the things that we have to do, we have to assess who we are. A lot of times we don't even look at who we are and what is our purpose, what were we created for, because God created all of us for a specific purpose, right? So, have you identified your purpose? I love questions, and I'm looking for interaction as well. You all can interact in the chat, or we can talk about it. I want to talk about it. What are you willing to change, right? Have you really identified your purpose? Some people are just working jobs, and that's dangerous, right? If we're going through life and all we're doing is just working a job, no purpose in sight, right? No type of goal that we are setting for ourselves, nothing that we're working toward. I see a lot of organizations that are caught up in that as well, just kind of going through the motion. They don't have a vision for the people that are following, so people get bored. I told a leader this the other day. I said, when you don't have a vision, the people that are following get bored and they start doing whatever they want to do. They start losing interest, they start leaving. So if you're leading a group of people, and I think all of us are leaders in our own right, even on your jobs, wherever you are in your home, we all are leaders. So what are you willing to change in order to be the best leader that you can be, right? What are you willing to change? And have you defined your purpose? Those are the questions I want to put forth up front. Where are you in life? Think about that. I'm not talking about just your age. You're 43, you're 44, you're 50, but where are you in life? What season are you in? Because there's a winter season, a fall season, summer season, a spring season, and we go through all of those constantly through life. But where are you in your life, right? Um, I'm somewhat kind of in this winter season. I'm coming out of it, but a winter season is very interesting because in the winter, it's just like we're in now, it's very cold, right? Sometimes in that winter season, it gets lonely. Sometimes it's very quiet in that winter season. You have to identify the season of your life that you are in and know how to work through that season, right? Everything is purposeful. So we have to appreciate the season that we're in because that season is going to teach us something about ourselves. I don't know if you all believe that, but it's going to show us something about who we are, our character. It'll show us our flaws as well. When you get to the spring season, that's when things begin to change. You're coming out of this down season that you were in, and things just like the regular seasons, things begin to blossom in your life. Things begin to happen in your life, and you actually can take a deep breath, right? And this fresh air feels good. It's like a break that I've come through. So there's three places in life that we're going to be in. It's either going to be we're going through a transition, you're in that transition, you're entering a transition, or you're leaving out of a transition. And I talk about this a lot because it's so important. A lot of people don't realize that we go through seasons, right? They don't realize that the changes that we go through in our life, they're purposeful. If you look at it, our lives were already ordained, right? They were already written out. So all we're doing is really just living it out. So when things come about, there's no need for you to get frustrated. Just know that it was already planned by God, right? It was already planned. It was going to happen already. I just have to go through it. And that's good or bad, right? We can go through some experiences that seem like, oh my goodness, why am I here? But I choose to look at situations now as, okay, Lord, what is it that you're trying to show me in this season of my life? What am I supposed to be getting out of this season? Because I know you wouldn't have brought me through this season if you didn't have something you want to teach me. So allow me to learn the lesson the first time, because guess what? If you don't learn the lesson the first time, it's going to repeat itself. And you are going to take that test again. You're going to take it over and over and over again until you pass it, right? Because it's something that you have to get. It's kind of like you going through life, and life is a scavenger hunt. And everywhere that we go, there is a piece of our puzzle that we are supposed to get. And going through this lesson helps me to acquire this piece of my puzzle. Yeah. So so this is the thing. You have to make sure that you are you are being intentional about every season that you're in. Cherish the season that you're in, and I encourage each and every person on here, start journaling. If you have not journaled, start journaling. Write things down. Make things plain for yourself, because after it's said and done, you're going to look at things, and especially when you've gone through something, you're going to say, you know what? One of the things that I realized is I was at a different mindset when I was going through that. Right, I was at a different place in life, and I have grown. You should be able to see growth within yourself. If you can't see growth within yourself, then something is definitely wrong, right? We have to start making adjustments, because we are supposed to be growing. I have my live audience on here, and guys, if any of you all want to jump in and say anything, please feel free to jump in. It's still an interactive platform. I am on a couple of different platforms today. I'm on YouTube, and I'm on TikTok as well. So y'all share the link with your friends, share the live with your friends, let them know that we're having real talk, real conversation about real life issues. And the objective is to help someone, right? Because we can't continue in 26 the way that we were in 25. I refuse to do that. I don't know about you, but I refuse to, to be in the same place that I was in 2025. 2025 was interesting for me. It was a lot of growth that I went through. I experienced some things that I think I would ever experience. But I'm telling you, it was all purposeful, and it was necessary for my journey, because it's kind of like you go through, and I don't know if anybody's been in college, but there are some classes you can't get to until you take the prerequisite, right? So 25 was a prerequisite for where I'm going. And I hope you can say the same for yourself as well. There are prerequisites. So make sure that when you go through those classes that you are cherishing them and you're getting everything you're supposed to get out of them. Because some of the things that we're supposed to be learning is just discipline. That's one of the things I've been talking about for a while, but I really can see it now. Like, it is so key that I bring discipline to certain areas of my life. Some of you all that have been following me, you see I've been working out and in the gym and different things. I had a trainer last year. I think I got him last November, about a year ago. And a little bit before that time came up, because I had signed up for a year, I ended up dropping my trainer. Just some different things, and I won't go into that. But I looked at it and I say, you know what? I've been with him about 8 months. He taught me the plan. He gave me the plan. He gave me the blueprint to eat and stuff. I should be able to stand on my own, right? Because when you get a trainer for whatever you're doing, whether it's finance, whether it's eating right, you're not supposed to hang on to this person all of your life, right? You're supposed to use them for a small amount of time. They teach you the discipline because they've mastered that discipline, and then you're supposed to take that and take it to the next level, apply it to your life. So I had to start looking at myself and saying, look, you don't need a trainer, because if you are just depending on the trainer, when you get in a bad place, or when that trainer falls off, or they're having a bad day, you're going to fall off as well, because you're so dependent on them. That's codependency, right? A lot of us don't realize we're codependent on the people around us, and we have to start learning how to function on by ourselves, right? So he gave me the plan. So I said, you know what? Let me get back on it, right? And I realized there were distractions that was keeping me from getting to what I need to get to. And I'm going to get to that shortly. But one of my other questions is that, does it, in the season that you're in right now, does it appear that God is not hearing your prayer? You've been praying and praying, and it's like, well, Lord, ain't nothing happening. What's going on, Lord? Are you here? It don't seem like you're here in this season. Even with the discipline and different things or whatever. God, are you here? I'm trying. You see, I'm struggling here or whatever. Where are you? I can't hear you. I can't see you. And I realized, man, there's so many distractions in the way. So I had to assess myself, right? I had to make sure that there was nothing standing in my way. And guess what? When I really started doing the evaluation, it was a lot of things standing in my way, right? And one in particular was an individual, right? We don't realize some of the people around us are the reason that we're dragging, they're slowing us down. Now, listen, this may hurt, but I'm talking sometimes about family. It could be family, it could be your best friend, it could be the spouse that's in the house laying in the bed beside you, right? You need to make sure that you assess the people around you and know that they are not a distraction on your destiny, on the path that you're going to, right? My next thing said, what, and I'm gonna get into all of that a little bit later, and I don't have that much, but I definitely, I'm gonna open up the floor for my roundtable audience on Zoom and hear what they have to say. But do any of you all have anything that you want to say? Thank you all for joining us. Y'all have anything y'all want to say right quick?
Hi.
Hey.
Of course, everything you're saying is true. And I love that you're speaking about the distractions because I was distracting myself with my excuses, distracting myself with always saying, well, when I make time or when I have time, instead of really focusing on what I needed to do. So I was distracting myself and didn't realize it until I thought about it.
That's good. We can distract ourselves. I realized too. So I talked about the distraction a few minutes ago, and I said that and there was an individual, but then I had to go back and really break that thing down because I don't like pointing fingers at people, right? I like to really, when I get in a situation, I gotta look at myself because one of the things I came up with is this individual could not have done more than I allowed them to do, right? No one can distract you unless you allow them to do it. But I got caught up in this, in this routine, just doing this and doing that and calling it, and I saw it was not taking me anywhere. So I had to be okay with disconnecting from a friend. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Again, I'm asking questions right now before I get started. My topic says, what are you willing to change, right? And the last thing said, what changes do you need to make mentally? Because some of the stuff that we deal with and we fight with is mental, right? Mentally, because our mind is fighting with our body, right? It's fighting with our will. What do you need to change physically, right? What do you need to change emotionally? Some of us are emotionally unavailable. And that causes us to connect with people that are emotionally unavailable. We have not gotten in touch with ourselves, right? And spiritually, what are you willing to change, or what do you need to change spiritually? If we look in all of those areas, there's something that needs to be shifted, something that needs to be adjusted, right? So my next question said, why do I need to change, right? Why do you need to change? Anyone have anything they want to say? Anybody else? Okay. Thank you all for joining us on all three platforms. Why do I need to change? So my first point says, and we talked about this a few minutes ago, distractions are all around me. What do distractions do? Distractions slow me down. I can't move at full speed with distractions. When I disconnected from this distraction, now mind you, I'm still connected with the distraction because I have to operate in a certain capacity. But having this distraction, having so much access to me, I had to cut that off, right? I can't, because I couldn't move at full capacity. Man, I know what's inside of me. I know God has planted so much inside of me, and it's for a purpose. It's to reach people. It's to impact the youth that I deal with on a daily basis. So why am I allowing this distraction to slow me down, right? It's clouding my vision. Sometimes it just it's the people that you're connected with. It's not even sometimes that individual. Sometimes it's the people that they're connected with. Sometimes people are connected with other people that are slowing them down, right? And because it slows them down, it's something unconsciously that they take on. You find yourself connecting to these people like a magnet, and then you find your whole life is just down spiraling. And you're trying to figure out, like, what is going on with my finances? What's going on with my thinking? Like, why do I feel like this? Why is all this anxiety here? Why am I having problems sleeping? All of these different issues, right? We have problems with because of the people that are connected to the people we're connected with. So you got to check your circle, right? Those are distractions. Of course, we all know social media as well. Social media can be a big distraction because people are so in competition with each other, right? I get on there a little bit, but a lot of times if I'm not posting anything that's related to kind of what I have going on at the moment, I'm kind of on and off of there because I'm like, man, this is such a distraction. I got so much work I need to be doing. I could be reading. I got back into my reading because one of the things I realized teaching young people, they have lost the capacity to read, right? The majority of them, they hate reading. They won't read. I'll give assignments and they run through this whole assignment. And I grade differently on some assignments. I make my students, I'm in a teaching barbering in a technical high school program. And I'll give them writing assignments because I know I'm dealing with 9th through 12th grades. I know that on their journey, all of them are talking about going to college to do something else. They're going to be papers that you're going to have to write. And also, I'm allowing them to journal so that they can pour what's on the inside out of them. And I give simple instructions like leave the font at 12 point. I spell everything out because you have to spell it out so they can make sure they see it. I tell them some papers I said double spaces. It needs to be 2 pages long. And some of them they'll do 4 and 5 pages. I count off for that. They will do single space. And I count off all that. They said, oh, you grade different. I said, the reason is because I want you to be able to follow instructions. It's simple. We don't know how to follow instruction because we're distracted, right? We're distracted by everything going around. And I guarantee you the majority of my students that are doing their papers and stuff, they probably are doing it. They got music in their ears. They're scrolling on TikTok. They're doing all this. So they're undivided. Their attention is divided, right? The assignment does not have the undivided attention. So we have to make sure that we are checking all of the distractions around us. No one can do that for you, right? No one's going to be in your circle unless you allow them to be in your circle. My next thing says, why do I need to change? Because I keep getting off track, right? Have this discipline set. I don't know if this is speaking to someone, but I have this set schedule set. And I'm doing good the first week. I'm working out, getting up 5 a.m, going to the gym. And then something happens. One day, something happens, right? I keep getting off track, right? So I need to change, right? What do I need to change? I got to change my mentality. If this is serious to me, whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish, that I'm trying to get to, it needs to be a priority and it needs to be on my calendar of things to do, right? It needs to be something that I'm always seeing in front of me, whether I have to set an alarm for it every day until I get it into my system. Because they say it takes 21 days to either create a habit or break a habit, right? And then it takes 63 days to implement that habit, to lose the old habit. And then it takes about 90 days to make that habit a lifestyle. So that's time. It takes time to get where you're trying to go, right? And a lot of us don't want to dedicate that time into bettering ourselves. So yes, I need to change. I got to change my mentality because my stinking thinking, as I heard someone say before, is what's holding me back. Why do I need to change? Because I've lost sight of my vision. Right? Some people don't even have a vision, but for some of us that have visions already, we know where we're going. We have our life mapped out. And of course, it may take a lot of different turns or whatever, but I have a clear vision of where I'm going to go, especially my males, right? The males, you have to have a vision for your family, right? You're talking about getting married and leading a family. There has to be a vision. You got to have something to that you're going to lead this family with, right? When in the garden where Adam and Eve was there, when Adam got there, before Eve even got there, Adam had a job. He had a vision. God had created the earth, and he told him, I need you to take care of the land, take care of the animals, farm the land. That was a vision. He gave him that. He gave Adam the vision before Eve even came along, right? So when that lady comes along, it is her job to come along and put her hands to that vision. Now you can tell her what you got to do, because when you give her that vision, any real woman, you give her a vision, she gonna take that thing and turn it around and bring it all to fruition. That's how God created us, right? That's a skill that we have. So you got to be careful who you're connecting with, and make sure that you have a vision for the people that you're leading. Not just talking about men, but just people that are leading their household. There needs to be a vision in place. So if I keep losing sight of my vision, then I need to change. I got to change something about me. Something is throwing me off. Next, I said this before, I can't hear God in this season. There's no clear direction. That my distraction had my prayer life off, had my reading my Bible off, had everything off, right? Because I found myself giving my attention to this distraction more than anything. But when it all boiled down, it was like, this distraction is really distracting you. It's not pouring into you, right? It's not impacting you. It's not inspiring you. So you need to make sure that you get this distraction out of the way, because it's causing you to do the main thing that you were created to do, and that's hear from God. I need to hear from God. It don't matter what I'm going through, the good times, the bad times, valley season, spring, winter, summer, fall. I need to be able to hear the voice of God, especially if I'm a child of God, right? So what about change? What is change? I defined it where I didn't really look it up, but when I wrote it down, and I wrote down a few things that jumped in my head when I thought about change. But before I go on, does anyone have anything that they want to say? I want to hear from you. On my platform, anything that you guys want to say? Thank you all for joining us on TikTok. If you all have not followed us, follow us on Your Brokenness on all platforms. We're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, and Instagram as well. Okay, if no one has anything they want to say, I'm going to go in, and I'm almost done, guys. Change. When I looked at change, I said change is something, well, it means that something will be shifted, right? Something is going to be adjusted. Something is going to take on a new appearance. Something is going to be transformed as well. That's what change is. So that means if I'm going through change, it may be uncomfortable. When we're growing, you're going through growing pain, things are very uncomfortable, right? They don't look the way that they were looking in my last season. It's unfamiliar to me. It doesn't feel good. It may even make my body hurt, right? My mind may hurt. I may be in a place, but change it brings about something great, but it's something that we have to go through. So we have to be open for a shift. We got to be open for a paradigm shift. Our minds have to change, right? If we want better in life, if we want to get the things that we acquire, we have to allow ourselves to change. We're in this new year, and people are doing New Year's resolutions. I didn't even get into that. I said, because I shouldn't have to wait till the first of the year to make changes in my life, right? I should be changing something about my life every day, because if you really take time to look in the mirror, there's something about you that you'll see that you don't like, that other people can't deal with, that you need to make changes and adjustments with, right? So that's an individual thing. We have to do that self-work. That's what the Own Your Brokenness is about, right? We have to do that self-work. There has to be something that has to take place. Listen, my last distraction that I was talking about. So distractions can be bad, but there also can be something in the midst of it. Remember, I was telling you, in the midst of all of it, I was looking like, Lord, what are you trying to show me in this place? And my friend began to look through me, right? And I was like, well, what are you looking at? And I knew he was in the spiritual place. He wasn't really looking at me. He was looking through me. And he said, he said, I saw a little girl. He said, and this little girl was crying out. And it hit me. It dawned on me like, wow, man. He took me all the way back to my childhood. And I said, dog, man, and that was something that was there. And I said, when we did talk again, I said, that little girl was the one that was always crying out. I said, I was always in places with people, but one of the things I would always say is like, why don't they see me? No one sees me. They're not around me. They can't hear me. Why don't they see or hear me crying? I was like, I'm loud, man, but I wasn't really opening my mouth. But this internal cry was coming out because I wanted someone to see me, to hear me. I said, they don't see all the stuff that I'm going through, and I was going through some stuff at a child. I'm talking about at age 6, 7, 8 years old, going through some stuff, right? And my friend said, you got to heal. Let that part of you go. You got to heal it. And I said, yeah, I will. I said, but I didn't even realize that part was still there. Mind you, I'm going through life allowing God to dig up things and pluck up things that are not there because I want to be all that I'm supposed to be, right? I want to be perfect in His sight, but I don't want the things and my experiences that I've gone through to hinder me from where God is trying to take me. So I'm constantly saying, God, search me every day, search the realms of my heart. If there's anything that's there that I don't even know that's there, take that stuff out, Lord, and help me to be a better person every day. Teach me how to love unconditionally. Teach me how to treat my brothers and sisters the way that you treat me, right? The way that you treat the church. So I began to look at that, and I'm telling you, when He brought that out, it changed my whole life. And this was probably some days ago, maybe a week or so ago. It changed my whole life because my perspective changed. Now I knew, because I'd always tell people, I said, there's a wall that I can't identify. And I'm talking about within myself. I said, I can't get past this wall. And I began to talk about, I said, even in relationships, in worship, even in church, in worship, I said, there's a wall, there's a restriction that's holding me back. And I didn't realize what it was. When He brought that up, it took me to this place. And I said, you know what? A lot of people deal with things when they were young and they suppress those things, right? So I have to change. I got to force myself to change. Once I identify my brokenness, once I identify the things that have been hindering me, the things that cause me to procrastinate, the things that cause me to be slowful through life about what I'm doing, slowful about defining my purpose. When I define these things, then I got to start targeting these things, right? I got a piece of the blueprint. Now I can move around it because I know that this was a distraction. But it's not just the fact that it was a distraction. We have to look at things and say, what caused me to get to this place? What caused me to deal with this? What caused me to go through this? And I like to go all the way back. I'll take that thing back. I'll be, why this? Why? And it'll take me all the way back to my childhood. That's a place a lot of people don't like to go, right? But if you go back there, you will allow yourself to begin to heal, because what we're seeing today is a lot of grown kids, and that's not being funny, right? But a lot of adults, we're growing up by age, right? Because every time my calendar birthday comes around, I turn another age, so I'm 45, right? But the little girl inside of me is still there crying out, trying to be healed, right? So in actuality, when you see people acting out, having temper tantrums and different things, it is the little kid inside of them that has not fully healed, that is trying to get out, that is trapped there, right? So you got to assess yourself, look at your life, do some self-evaluation, because it's needed in this season, right? We can't allow ourselves to continue in 26 the way that 25 was, the way that 24 was, 23. We have to want more. We have to advance in our lives, right? I'm going to stop here. Anything anyone want to say before I go further? I'm almost done. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Internal stunted growth. Yes, that's right, sir. Internal stunted growth. Anyone? No?
I just want to say, Kaya, everything that you have said tonight is definitely on point. The one thing that I think we don't do is we always want to carry everybody with us. And sometimes we don't supposed to carry people. Sometimes we have to move in silence and move differently so God can work with us and we can hear Him, because we always, especially women, they always want to make sure, okay, how can I help everybody else move forward? And then we end up putting ourselves on the back burner. Yeah. At this point in life, the one thing that I've realized is, if I put myself on the back burner, how can I help anybody else?
That's good.
Because if you don't take care of self, you can't take care of anybody else. Mm-hmm. So the first thing that I would tell anybody to do a self-inventory check. and find out what your why is. And then from that point, then you maybe, once you understand that and walk through your healing journey, so many other things will open up for you.
That's good. That's good. I like that. We have to make sure. That's good. We have to make sure that we are doing that self-evaluation. A lot of people don't like to do that. When I look at self-evaluation, if I were to define that in the dictionary, I would put an onion right there, right? Because an onion has so many layers. And in order for me to do that self-evaluation, I got to peel back those layers in order to find out who I am, in order to get to the core of that onion, right? And there's many layers, so it's gonna take a little time. I may have to spend a little time in one layer, more time than the other, right? But as long as there's growth. So every time we talk or every time we connect with people, we shouldn't have the same sob story, right? There should be some type of growth that people can see and I say, wow, man, she's really maturing. He's really maturing. His life is really changing. I'm walking through this journey with him and I can see something is happening in his life, right? People should be able to say that about us. What are you willing to change, right? The next thing, change can, I got a couple of points and I'm done. Change can be lonely. And why do I say that? Because you're going to shed some friends. You're going to shed some family members, right? I had a family member a little bit ago. They asked me, can you, well, no, they had an issue that they were going through and I was there for them. But then I saw them getting into this same issue again. It was wrapped in a different cover, if you know what I mean. But they were going through the same thing. And I said, well, you need to take some time and be careful and get to know this individual. And they popped off and said, I don't need no advice. I've been through this before. I did it. I threw my hands up. I was done with it, right? Because I'm seeing, because of the individual, the questions I had asked the individual, I saw that this individual is the same individual that you just had, except they look different. The outer cover is different, but the spirit is, and the internal is the same. So I see you finna go down the same path. I was trying to warn you, but you didn't want to hear that. So you know what? I got so much going on in my life. I'm gonna deal with me. I'm done with it. I'm and I when I closed down, I know they went and evaluated and really thought about it because they started trying to reach back out to me. I ain't act nasty, but it's just like right now, all I got for you is one word answers, right? Because you don't want to hear what God has to say to you. Sometimes God will use different people to help us on our journey, but sometimes because of what the contents is wrapped in, we don't want it, right? We want the contents, but we don't want the container that it's coming in, right? So we have to make sure that we are checking people on our journey. Change can be lonely. You got to share some friends. You got to share some family. If they're slowing you up, you got to be okay with disconnecting. Yeah, we kick it every weekend. We have a Friday night kickback. We do this and do that. You got to be willing to disconnect in order to grow and in order to change and transform into the person that God created you to be. Change will cause you to be isolated. How many people have been isolated on here? Anybody been isolated? It does not feel good to be isolated, right? It seems like you're by yourself. And I'm talking about isolation when you're in a crowd of people and you still feel isolated. That's the type of isolation I'm talking about. I got all my family here, all my kids here, but I'm still isolated because the things that I'm going through, I can't even tell them. They don't understand, and it's not a safe ground for me to be able to talk to, right? To express myself. So yeah, it is very lonely in this isolation place. But you have to be willing to isolate. One of my favorite sayings that I heard a while back says, elevation comes through isolation. Elevation comes through isolation. Comes from isolation. You have to be isolated in order to elevate. In order to grow, there has to be a separation. Separation causes you to be isolated, but that isolation is going to cause growth. Change causes us to be vulnerable, and that is okay. Yes, a lot of people don't like to be vulnerable. That's the journey that I'm on. I'm saying, Lord, take me through the things that I'm supposed to go through because I want to help somebody else become vulnerable. To know that it's okay to be transparent and to be able to talk. Anyone have anything they want to say right there?
Something came to mind as you've been talking. We don't plant the same seeds throughout all our seasons. When you're trying to grow certain things, you can't plant the same seeds all year round. There's for certain fruit, for good fruit to be bared, So if I want good watermelon, I'm not gonna plant that watermelon right now because it's cold. I'm gonna wait till the season come for the watermelon to be planted, grow, and be good fruit. So sometimes I think we keep planting the same seeds in all our seasons and expecting something to grow, and it's not gonna grow. We have to make sure we know what season we're in.
That's good. Oh, that's good. You said something right there. We got to know what seeds we are planting. And to take it even further, you got to know what ground you're planting on, because every ground is not fertile, right? Everybody that you're dealing with is not fertile ground. Some people are not going to take the information that you give them and take it to a safe place or take it in prayer. They'll take it. They will use it to demise you. All kinds of things will happen, but that's good. Know what seeds you are planting, right? And because sometimes we, even as good people, children of God, we plant seeds of discord, right? So we got to be mindful of the things that we say, right? I'm in a place now where before I say anything, I heard this lady say once before, taste your words. If they don't taste good to you, they ain't gonna taste good to nobody else. Basically, meaning before it exits your mouth, you need to make sure that you play it around in your head and see how people are going to perceive that before you put it out in the atmosphere. Sometimes we bring curses on ourselves. Oh, I'm sick. My cancer, my this, my that. You're claiming all of this sickness to yourself. We got to be careful of the seeds that we're planting, because whatever we put in the atmosphere is going to manifest itself, good or bad. There's a scripture that says power in the tongue, right? So we got to be careful of what comes out of the tongue. It also says the tongue is a very bitter part of the body. It spits out venom, right? So we got to be careful about what we are putting out, right? Blessings instead of curses. Also, change will cause you to grieve. And I'm not talking about, it feels like a death, right? When you're disconnected from people you've been connected with for a while. That's grief, right? You got to go through a grieving process sometimes when you are changing, because change is going to look different, right? Change is going to take you to a different people, places, and things, but you have to be ready for it. It is inevitable. It's going to happen, but we have to shift our minds and know these are things that are going to happen. So when they come, it's not alarming to us. My last few points: change brings clarity. What do I mean? It brings clarity in your decisions and your visions. If your decisions that you've been making and the vision that you have for your life is not clear, then you need to change, right? You need to figure out what needs to change in my life. Something needs to change. My mindset needs to change. My habit, my discipline needs to change. There's something about me that has to shift in order for me to get clarity on where I'm supposed to be going. My roadmap is here, but I can't even really see it. It looks very foggy because something is not clear. So you have to place yourself in a position of change that will bring clarity. The next, change changes your perspective. The way that you see things is going to be different. Instead of looking at the glass as being half empty, now you can see the positive side of it and say that the glass is half full. Change will change your perspective if you allow it to. The next thing, change strengthens your core. What does that mean? It strengthens your values, your ethics, your discipline. Everything about you, change will strengthen that. If you allow yourself to go through this isolation, if you allow yourself to disconnect from friends that are not healthy, if you allow yourself to go through the grieving process of disconnection, because some of us have abandonment issues, attachment issues. If you allow yourself to go through that and allow yourself to transform and change, something beautiful is going to take place. Something is going to happen that's going to catapult you to the next level of success, the next level of growth. I got two more. Change forces you to grow. A lot of times we don't want to grow. Some people, if you look at yourself, some people can say, well, now I've been on my job for 40 years, same position, nothing is happening. I'm getting a steady check though. But were you designed just to work a job? I think we were designed for, I know, let me take that back. I know we were designed for greater than that, right? And I want to grow. I don't want to stay the same because God didn't call me to stay the same. I want to see growth within myself. I want to be all that I can be because I'm around so many people. And one of my assignments is to impact the youth. So if they can't look at me and see change within me, then something is wrong, right? I'm going to get to a place where I can't pour into them anymore. I'm going to get to a place where I can't impact their lives, where I can't shift their decision making when it's necessary. So I need to make sure that I allow myself to grow. What does growth look like? In August, when I decided that I was going to start teaching full time, it forced me to change. Right, I had been working at the school and working in my private suite from January until June. And in June, oh, not June, I'm sorry, to August. I did it all during the summer, did it during the school year. It was tough last semester. I would work 5 days a week. Anybody that's been in the school system, have kids or whatever, you know how it goes in the school system for 5 days. And then after I got through, some days, well, Fridays, I would go to my suite, which was 45 minutes away, right? So, and then I wouldn't get there at 5 o'clock. I'd be cutting hair at about 10 o'clock. And then I'd be there all day Saturday from like 8 to 2:30 or 3. And it was just, it was tiring. Get up Sunday, go to church, have a few hours when I get back, and then back at it again. I was like, yeah, I'm not finna continue doing it. So in August, when it was time to go back to school, I had to make a decision to change, right? I had to think about, okay, you finna let all of this go, or what have you been cutting in this sweet 6 years? You actually been cutting in that city for 17 years. That was the second location I had been in, right? But I knew it was time to go. Everything in that atmosphere started getting uncomfortable. And a lot of times when we don't want to move or shift, God will make our now season so uncomfortable. It forces us to change. And that was one of the things that it did for me. It forced me to change because I wanted better. And guess what? This time around, I didn't have to worry about anxiety and going through all of these things in my mind, because I had grown to this place of, you know what, God, whatever you say, that's what it is. Wherever you're going to take me, that's where we're going. I ain't even been a second guess. You said leave, let's go. And that's where I was. I let my clients know. And I had to be okay with losing clients. I went 45 minutes away, which I'm still allowed to, I can cut into school after school if I want. But I was just ready to go to the next level, right? And I still do. Like I said, I cut a little bit, but I had to know this change is going to require you to lose some clients. And I was okay with it, y'all. And so folks may say, well, oh, that's your money or whatever. If you're going to something greater that God has for you, sometimes you got to let go of your old season. I don't know who I'm talking to. You got to let go of what you have been in order to receive the greatness that God has for you, the next level that he has for you. Right. So I was okay with that. A lot of my clients, you know what I did? I had a guy that I trained years ago. He was in my barbershop. I trained him and he went to a private suite. He was probably about 5 to 7 minutes up the road from me. I sent a lot of my clients to him. I felt good knowing that they were in good hands. I sent them to him. I had one other person to recommend for those that weren't able, because now it's out of people's way, right? People do things by convenience. So I was not, when I made that move, I was not expecting my clients to come 45 minutes to get a haircut. Some of them still do, right? But there's a good bit of them that didn't, and I was okay with that because I'm ready for God to take me to my next season. I know my next season is not going to allow me to cut hair all day, right? That's a skill that I have, and I have to use it in different capacities. But I had to understand, be okay with letting go, Kaya. Let go of what's in your hand, because God is ready to bless you with something else. But he can't put it in your hands if your hands are still full of your old season. So I was okay with letting that go. So that change forced me to grow. My last thing, change gives you momentum to soar, right? If you want to soar, you want to get to the next level, change is going to give you momentum. So you have to make up in your mind, this is what I want. I'm ready to move forward. I'm tired of being in the same place that I am. I'm ready for the greater that God promised me, because he promised me I could be the head and not the tail, right? He promised that I could have cattle on 1,000 hills. He promised me that whatever I desire, as long as I abide in him and he abide in me, I could have the desires of my heart. We have to know our scripture, right? A lot of times we read the Bible, but we don't apply that to our life. That stuff was for us, right? That's our blueprint for us to live by. So if you want to soar, if you want to gain momentum, change gives you the momentum to soar. Does anyone, have a few people on my round table on the Zoom platform? I know someone got something to say. I'm listening. Someone said, when you deal with change, remember when God removes, God improves. Ooh, I like that one. He improves. He sure does. He takes you, he gives you more and better than what you had before. As long as you are open. And then even in change, you all, we have to make sure that we keep our heart pure. My prayer every day, God, keep my heart pure, because there be stuff happening. It be things happening. People be saying stuff. People be doing stuff. Lord, keep my heart pure. Why do I say that? Because if I allow a bitter root to get in my heart, right, then I develop the spirit of unforgiveness, right? Unforgiveness is so powerful. It will stunt our growth. It will keep you from changing. It will keep you holding grudge. It will be the wall that stands between you and your next miracle, you and your next blessing, you and the favor that God has over your life. So make sure that as you're changing and shifting, you keep your heart pure. All right, guys, the floor is open. I want to hear from you all on this Zoom platform, because I know y'all got something to say. I see the reactions. The floor is open. Anybody? Nobody? I don't want to pressure anybody. Go on, Victoria.
The one thing that I do say every day is, God, be less of me. I want to be less of me and more of you. Because if I allow myself to, you know how you were saying, sometimes when the flesh get involved and distractions and stuff like that, you start thinking crazy and you start bringing that old self back. But if you really want to in tune with God and stuff, every morning I'm like, God, just let it be less of me and more of you, because I need to do better. And it's just time for change, like you said. So I totally agree with you.
It's definitely time for change, and we have to be the thing that catapults change. Nobody else is going to bring change in your life. We have to be the change that we desire to see. Go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, everybody. I came in late. What you grinning for? So I kind of missed a lot of beginning, but I was thinking about when Summer P was mentioning about the seed. I'm picturing change being just like a seed, the seed that she was speaking of. In change, there has to come death. When I say death, that means that even in the scripture, it talks about a grain of wheat. When it hit the ground, the outer shell of that grain has to die in order for it to be rooted and to grow. There's going to come a dark season. It's going to come an uncomfort. I'm pretty sure that death has to happen, even in different seasons. There's a saying that says, "Don't fall in love with my flowers, for the seasons change, but fall in love with my roots." So like your roots is going to be ingrained in that soil. And that death that doesn't happen if you're rooted in great soil, that change is going to come for you to alter. Every tree has to go through a change. Every plant has to go through the change. So it's understanding how to be okay with all the dirtiness that's going to come along with that change, the vulnerabilities and everything that's coming along with it. So I like the way when Summer P used the seed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was good. That was good. And he was talking about, he said death has to take place. That was that grief that I was talking about before. You're going to go through that grieving season. Know what season you're in. If you're in that winter season, know that it's not going to be winter always, right? There's going to be a spring that comes along. And we know in the springtime, naturally so, things begin to blossom. The leaves begin to come back on the trees. You see the color around. And it's just, like I was saying earlier, it feels like it's a breath of fresh air. And then the summer season comes, everything is bright and glowing. But again, then the fall season is going to come around and things begin to shed off. People begin to shed off. Relationships begin to shed off. Jobs begin to change. Health things begin to happen. All kinds of stuff begin to happen. If we look at what God naturally has happening with the weather, you'll understand how your life operates. I don't know if anybody ever does that. I do it a lot. I said, let me look at how nature is. You look at the animals, how they mate and different things. Our lives are supposed to pattern after that. They don't have all the artificial insemination. They don't have all this extra stuff going on, the AI and the robots and all of that telling them what to do. They just move naturally. And if we would take a moment and look at the wildlife, how it operates, we will understand how we're supposed to operate as a people, right? And that's one of the things that we don't do. We just kind of move through life. But I sit back and I look at the leaves falling off. And that's big for me, right? I because I know something is happening in my life. My life is going to pattern behind what nature is doing. I look at the animals and how they get along, and how the mama duck has the babies behind, and just different things like that. It may seem crazy or whatever, but if you want to know how your life is supposed to go, look at nature, look at wildlife, and you will understand how we're supposed to operate, what we're supposed to be doing, right? Change is inevitable, but change will happen. My topic, what are you willing to change? I want to leave you with that. What are you willing to change? Any other questions or comments that we have before we get off? I appreciate all of you all for coming on. I missed all of y'all. We haven't been here in a while. I'm gonna do better. It's about balance, right? Balance is another word that I'm working on, another thing I'm working on this season. Discipline and balance. I'll never let that discipline go, because it's so much that needs to happen in every part of your life if you're trying to bring discipline in there, and it doesn't happen overnight. But in order to discipline your life, you got to have balance in every part of your life, right? So y'all stay tuned. We're going to be doing some more roundtables. I apologize for not being here. I just have been overwhelmed. But I'm back. I'm here. We're going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. It may not be every Sunday, but we're going to be here more often, because I like talking to you all, because it helps me to grow. Alan, one of my friends from back home, I see you. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you for inviting me, for one thing.
Yes, sir.
I will happen to say that with seeds, for a seed to actually grow, it has to actually go into the dirt. Dirt is a form of darkness. A form of darkness, and it has to be covered. And so you have to actually water that seed, make sure it's in great ground and soil. And then you sprout, and then that seed starts to sprout. It starts to open up. After it opens up, it starts to proceed. It starts to go through the ground and comes up to the light. So the stuff that you actually putting in your body, your mind, and your soul, if you want to make a change, it got to go into a dark place first. And when it goes into that dark place, and you watering it, and you making sure how you doing, you're reading your words and everything, you're gonna sprout through that ground. You're gonna start hitting that light. So this is the thing that I actually get with planting that seed and growth. Because guess what? That seed grows from that seed went from a seed to a plant, to a stem, to a plant, to a flower. What you see is beautiful on the outside. But guess what? You have to all start by planting that seed, and that seed creating that root to grow. That's all I got. And I like what you're doing tonight.
Thank you, sir. That's good. I love my people from back home. These are my folks from my hometown, Aaron and Alan. I appreciate you all for being here. Summer, you done sparked something up talking about this seed now. Everybody's jumping on this seed, but that's so good, Alan. You're right. I always see the picture that comes on Facebook that says every seed has to go. It has to be in dirt in order for it to be something great. Exactly, kind of what he said. It's a picture. They have a seed, and you see one picture, and it's just the seed, and you see the dirt. And in order for greatness to happen, like you said, it has to be water. It has to go through the cycles. It has to go through the faith. Again, that's another cycle that we can pattern ourselves behind as far as our lives are supposed to go, right? There's changes that have to be taking place. Danielle, I saw you, and I'm so glad you're here. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Glad to be here. Sorry, I had to, put my church finger up coming in a few minutes late, but
It's all good.
I wanted to share something that I heard another man of God say in relation to change. It was so good, I had to write it down. So basically what he said was that growth equals change, change equals loss, loss equals pain, but pain equals your purpose, your promise, and your blessings. So for me, that kind of wraps up from the part that I heard of your message of talking about change, because in order to change something, you lose something. I heard the last man say something has to die. It's all of the same thing. And in that dying, there's a process of pain that you have to, go through, of really processing what that looks like for you. But on the other side of that pain, on the other side of that loss, is your purpose, it is your promise, and it is your blessings. But if we are not willing to go through that change, we can't get what God has for us on the other side of all of that. Because whatever God has for us is always a beautiful thing. It's always something that could be way more than what we could see, think, dream, or imagine. But if we're not willing to go through that process, which is why a lot of people end up stagnated, because they're not willing to go through that process, because most of us don't want to have to deal with the pain of, letting things die in our lives, because that's what it is, a dying, a taking up our cross and allowing things to die every day in order for us to be this person that God has called us to be. Yes, so allowing us to strip all of those things off of us. So I just wanted to share that and just kind of add to the conversation, but that was it.
That's good. Thank you so much. Aaron said painfully, purposefully. I like that. You have to go through something in order to get where you're trying to go. So don't be afraid of change. Change is going to happen. God created us to go through change, right? So we have to be, once we allow ourselves to be open and process that, then your next comes, your blessings come, your favor comes, everything that you ask for. So I'm excited about this year. I don't know what it is about this year, not just because we're in a new year, but there are some great things that are going to take place. And I can truly say that just because of the testimony that I had given, I had another breakthrough to the next level of me, right? I was able to deal with some of the brokenness. And I already know once you deal with that, there's some kind of shift coming after that. So I'm excited about what is about to take place. Y'all stay tuned. Something great is going to happen. And I believe it for you all as well. Do we have any other comments? I just started tonight. I didn't even lead us in prayer. I had a couple of different platforms going on, but God bless. But I'm going to pray us out of here if no one has anything else. Make sure that you all are following us on Instagram. All of it is On Your Brokenness. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok as well. I have a lot of different things going on those pages. You may see me doing some workout stuff. All of that is change, right? All of that is transition, right? All of that is owning and dealing with brokenness, right? Insecurities and different things. So yeah, my pages may have a lot of, you may see me singing, right? You may see me doing some motivational speaking, but it's all a piece of me, right? I'm writing my story through these platforms. So I'm thankful for that as well. I still have On Your Brokenness t-shirts, and I'm trying to get rid of them. They're for $10. If anybody want any, reach out to me. I have a couple of long sleeve tees. I have short sleeve tees. I'm trying to get rid of them because I want to re-up and do something different. I have red, black, long sleeves are purple and orange, and then I have white. White, purple, red, and black short sleeve. Working on a website and things now. I've been working on it for a while, or just trying to find the right person, but I think I'm moving in the right direction. Anyone has anything else? If not, let me pray and we're going to get out of here. God, we thank you for this day. I thank you for each and every person that graced all three platforms. God, bless them beyond measure. God, let them have no complaints. Heal their bodies right now where they're sick, God, from the crown of their heads to the sole of their feet. God, let them be ready for what you are finna give to them. God, what you're finna bless them with, where you're finna take them to. God, I touch and agree with them right now. Whatever the desires of their heart is, God, let it come into fruition right now, God. Have your way in our lives. Protect us as we go our separate destinations, God. As we go over this week, God, you send a sign to your people to let them know that you're with them, God. And we praise you for that now. We bless you and we give you all of the honor that's due. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Y'all have a good night. And guess what? I love you all. And there is nothing that you can do about it. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.